All right, so we've all gotten used to some weird stuff with remote work, right? But what if your next Zoom interview was actually an act of international espionage? Yeah, you heard that right. Let's get into it.
So get this. This is a real quote from a job interview. A cybersecurity pro is interviewing a candidate. Everything looks perfect on paper, but on the video call, something is just wrong. So wrong, he has to ask the person to do this.
So why would he ask that? Well, the guy's name is David Machadlo, and he was convinced the person he was talking to was using a deep fake, an AI filter to hide their real face. And when he called him on it, asked them to prove they were real, they refused and just hung up. The call just ended. Wild, right?
Okay, so here's where it gets even crazier. David actually recorded this whole thing. Why? Because this wasn't the first time it happened to his company, but nobody believed them before. And what he caught on camera wasn't just some weirdo with a filter. It was the tip of a giant global iceberg.
It turns out recruiters all over the tech world were seeing the exact same thing. A guy named Rob Henley, who's the CEO of a security company, said he was just flooded with these sketchy applications, and they all had the same red flags: brand new LinkedIn profiles, those generic virtual backgrounds, and a serious allergy to turning on their cameras.
So this Rob Henley guy came up with this genius, super simple test. He was only hiring people in the US, right? So he just asked candidates, hey, can you just point your camera at the window for a sec? He interviewed dozens of these people. And you know what? He never, not once, saw daylight.
Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking, what's going on? Are these just a bunch of random scammers? Well, the truth is way bigger and honestly a lot more disturbing. We're talking about a highly organized, state-sponsored scheme.
Yeah, the FBI and other agencies have figured it out. This is North Korea. They are sending thousands of their best and brightest IT workers out into the digital world undercover. They're using fake identities, stolen identities, whatever it takes to get hired by companies in the West.
But why go to all this trouble? It's all about the money. A UN report estimates they're pulling in as much as $600 million a year from this. And let's be clear, this isn't just a few lost paychecks for some companies. This is cash that gets around all the international sanctions and goes directly into funding North Korea's weapons programs.
I mean, the scale is just mind-blowing. We're talking thousands of these digital ghosts, as they're called, working inside our companies. And we're not just talking about little startups here. They've gotten inside some of the biggest names out there, Fortune 500 companies.
So, the big question is, how? How do they actually manage to do this on such a massive scale? Well, it's a pretty slick operation, using a mix of high-tech tools and good old-fashioned deception. Let's walk through it.
Okay, step 1, they use AI to whip up perfect resumes and cover letters. Step 2, they have people, facilitators, on the ground in places like the US who provide fake IDs and a real physical address so the company can mail them a laptop. Step 3, the actual North Korean worker uses AI to prep for interviews or, like we saw, just uses a deepfake for the video call. And once they're in, pretty much every dollar they earn gets funneled right back to the state.
And that's the key, right? According to the security experts at Okta, generative AI is what's really pouring gasoline on this fire. It lets them run this playbook over and over and over again, at scale. Think about it. Even if an operative only lasts a few months or even just a few weeks before getting found out, when you're doing it thousands of times, it's still wildly profitable for the regime.
But hold on, what's it like for the actual people doing the coding? The workers themselves? We have some insight from a defector. So, let's say the salary is $5,000 a month. The person doing the work, they get to keep about $750 of that. The rest, a whopping 85%, goes straight to the government.
And this quote, man, it really hits you. It gives you the human perspective. These folks, who are often living in places like China, know they're being robbed, but their choice is between this and literally starving in North Korea. So for them, it's a no-brainer. They live under 24/7 surveillance, they can't go outside, but they accept it because it's still a better life.
So for a while, this was all about stealing salaries. But now, the game has changed. The threat has gotten a whole lot bigger. These workers aren't just cash cows anymore. They are the perfect inside man.
Yeah, the mission is shifted. It's not just about getting paid anymore. Now it's about using that inside access, the access you give any new employee, to do some real damage. We're talking data theft, corporate espionage, and, yep, even straight-up extortion.
And listen, this isn't just a what-if scenario.
It's already happened. A security company called KnowBe4 was brave enough to go public with their story. They accidentally hired one of these operatives. Now, they caught on pretty fast, but not before the fake employee managed to download a bunch of sensitive data and then tried to ransom it back to them. Insane.
All right, so I know this sounds pretty scary. A secret IT army hiding in plain sight. But here's the good news. You can spot them, and you can stop them. It all comes down to knowing the red flags. And you really do need to be on the lookout, because the sheer volume of these fake applications is just staggering. Some companies are seeing 30, maybe 40% of their applicants being part of this scheme. There was one crypto startup that said 95% of their applicants were fakes. 95%! So, where do you start? The front line is your HR and hiring managers. It's about insisting on video calls, seeing a real person, and looking for those weird signs, like someone constantly changing their bank info or asking to get paid through some shady money exchange. And just basic stuff. If their answers don't line up with their resume or they have zero online presence, you gotta ask more questions.
Then there's the tech side of things. Your security team can be on the lookout for tells. Are employees using weird remote desktop software or those mouse jiggler things to look like they're always online? But the biggest, most obvious giveaway? When the GPS on their company-issued laptop says it's in, say, China, but their address is supposed to be in Ohio. And believe it or not, that happens.
And you know what's kind of funny about all this? For all the high-tech AI and complex deception they're using, the best way to beat them often comes down to simple human stuff. Just getting on a real video call, actually checking their references, or, just asking that one simple question. Hey, can you show me the sun?
Which really leaves us with a huge, kind of creepy question for this new era of remote work, doesn't it? In a world full of AI deepfakes and digital masks, how well do you really know your colleagues? How well do any of us know who's actually on the other side of that screen?